it's me, Anya here. So today I wanted to make a video about just my day in, day out, how my life is going. Just a few thoughts. I'm also going to put on makeup while I'm doing it. I think I'm depressed. Actually, I don't think I know I am. I am struggling with it ever since I got diagnosed. It's a very obvious reason, of course. I have terminal cancer, so I think it's like very normal reaction from my brain to react with depression. Like it's a normal reaction to it. I have been put on some antidepressants, but maybe it's time to kind of reevaluate the situation when it comes to those drugs. I'm not sure they are good enough or working, or I don't know, but I will get to that part too. So a few days ago I went to see palliative care, as you know if you watched my latest video. And the palliative care, well, before the actual appointment, when I was waiting, I signed myself in, and then while I was waiting, they wanted me to do a test. I guess it's something to give to the doctor additionally, like extra information. And it was, among the other tests, there was a depression test, and I scored as somebody who has depression. Not a very deep depression, but medium depression. So how depression is really something, if you have never had depression, you don't know what you're talking about when you say you're depressed, because just feeling down and just unmotivated, that's not depression. Depression is something where you're not able to do things. You don't want to do things. Your brain is not capable of doing things. Like personal hygiene, to just go and take a shower is a task, is a huge achievement once you actually get yourself cleaned up. Or you just want to stay and watch TV and not think about anything else. You're not really even watching TV, you're more like staring at the TV, because your brain is then kind of being soothed, like it's soothing to the brain. I guess some people might eat during that time or do something that, you know, self-medicate, maybe drink alcohol, take illegal drugs. I can see why they would want to do that during that time. So for me, I do stare YouTube, and I don't really, as I say, don't really even watch it. I just stare it for hours at a time, or I just sleep. And I feel extremely guilty about wasting time, especially that I have so little time left. So I try my absolute best to kick myself out of it. It's also, I noticed that if I start doing things, I actually get out of depression, if that makes sense. Like I'm able to do things. I might still be sad somewhere behind my ears, but at least I'm doing things. I think the hardest part is just to kind of get going. So after I was diagnosed stage 2 cancer, and I went through a year worth of treatment, then I don't know if I have ever talked about it, but after I was done with my treatment, just about a month later, I couldn't breathe properly, and turned out that I had lumps in my lungs, and everybody thought, all the doctors, everybody thought that I had the cancer has come back, the terminal cancer, right, in that case. And so basically they all thought that because of the lumps, the way they looked and everything, they were really sure that it must be cancer. It was like how my ER doctor put it, that he thought it's 80% sure, but then eventually they went to 100% sure. And so once they found those lumps, like I went to ER because I couldn't breathe, and the doctors, of course, they did PET CT and everything, and saw the lumps, yada yada, and then cardiothoracic surgeon decided that, okay, we're going to do a biopsy of your lungs. And so, but there was a waiting time. I guess he was very busy, like his schedule was full, so I had to wait about a month. So for a month I was completely sure I have terminal cancer. And finally the day came, and during the time when I was hoping, there was still hope. I mean, during the time I was waiting, there was still hope that it might not be, it wasn't like 100% sure. But then the morning of the biopsy, they did another scan, and they saw that those lumps had grown. And with cancer, usually the rule of thumb is that if it grows, it's cancer. If it stays the same, it's benign. And so so I knew that it probably means cancer. And actually the initial plan had been that, so what they wanted to do is they wanted to get one of those lumps out. And by that, the lung biopsy wouldn't be that they just put a needle in and, pull a little piece out of that lump. No, what they wanted to do was cut me completely open and cut a piece of lung out, and hope that one of the pieces, that the piece of the lung that they cut out also has that lump, the suspicious lump on it, and then they would look at it under the microscope. But because lungs are huge, and basically it's difficult, the lumps that I had initially were smaller than a centimeter, or basically smaller than half an inch was the biggest lump, and it was difficult to find them exactly. And so what they wanted to do is to put 3 huge long needles into me, like markers, basically do a scan, and according to the scan put 3 needles in, kind of mark where they should cut. But after the scan they realized that the lumps had grown so much that they did not need to do the needles anymore. But also they thought that, it must be cancer because it has grown. And so they wheeled me into a room to wait, and then a resident came in who was part of the group of the cardiothoracic surgeon, and basically when I asked, is it cancer, he said yes. So basically it went to 100% sureness that they all think it's cancer. And he also said that right now we are having a meeting to discuss if we should even have biopsy at all, because it's so sure it's cancer. And then they got me open and took one lump out, and turned out I didn't have cancer, it was pneumonia. Right, so it actually took 5 more years before the cancer was back and was terminal. But because of what I had gone through with this experience, I developed PTSD. So basically I was constantly reliving the whole thing, what happened to my lungs. And also one thing, I don't know if you guys know that, but I'm going to mention it in case you don't know. When it comes to breast cancer is different. It's more of a bitch than other cancers. So normally when you have a cancer, you get treatment, and then if you survive 5 years, then most likely you're a survivor. You're a true survivor, and most likely the cancer is not going to come back. I mean, it might, but it's a very low chance. However, with breast cancer, if you survive 5 years, that's nothing. It can still come back. It can come back 20 years later. So basically what happens is that even though you might call a breast cancer person a survivor, they're never survivors, because you don't know how long until it turns terminal. It can turn terminal. Basically, if it shows up, it's possible they didn't get all the cancer cells. It shows up and now it's terminal because it can show up somewhere else, you know, in your body, right? Anyway, so basically it's like a black cloud that constantly follows you around after this saga that you go through with this cancer treatment. And so I had PTSD from all this, what I had gone through, and I started drinking. It wasn't a lot, it was a little bit at first, but I'm also very lightweight. And what I'm going with this is that I guess I kind of when I say I started drinking, it sounds like I became an alcoholic. I didn't really start drinking a lot, but I started developing the signs of possibility of becoming an alcoholic, because I wanted to disappear. I couldn't handle the reality, and the alcohol gave me the chance to kind of to soothe the brain, to just shut up. And so I knew that this is not good. And also my oncologist thought that I have PTSD from it. Well, actually what she called it, I think it's cancer brain. That's what she called, like basically that you're constantly thinking everything is cancer. And so I went to see the psychiatrist that cancer hospital has. So they have especially psychiatrist just specially for the cancer patients. By the way, if you don't know what's the difference between psychiatrist and psychologist, they're two different animals completely. To put it in a nutshell, psychologists can't normally or won't prescribe you medication and gives you works with you like an hour session. You talk, like for example behavioral therapy, behavioral cognitive therapy, etc., etc. But psychiatrist is somebody who kind of medically treats your brain. So normally the first thing they wanna do is prescribe you something. And so I started seeing this psychiatrist, and for the longest time I refused to take anything. And I went to see a psychologist, or actually a therapist, I guess. I don't know what the actual name is, but somebody who actually, you know, like works with you, you know, by talking. And she helped me get over that beginning of that alcoholic behavior. Plus, basically, she helped me get over the PTSD, because she's specialized in PTSD, like trauma, and it worked really fast. We did some exercises. PTSD manifests itself in a way that, so you basically constantly are reliving what happened, and you feel, no matter how much time passes, years, it still feels like it happened yesterday. And it's kind of like your brain goes like in a loop, like it just can't get out, you know, like in a programming, if you write the program improperly, if the program is not correct, sometimes it just goes in a definite loop, you know, it doesn't actually go through your program, or, you know, it doesn't give you an answer or whatever you want that program to do. that kind of happens to your brain. And so we were able to insert new information, open the old memory, insert new information to it, and close the memory. And now that was it. I was able to get over it and just continue with my life. And so the time that I had after that was basically when I was able to live my life until, of course, I got terminal cancer. Eventually, I was willing to actually listen to her, and I started taking prescription antidepressants, and I think it also worked at the time. It helped, and I've been taking the same antidepressant since then, but that depressant was prescribed to me before I was actually diagnosed with terminal cancer. And let me tell you what happened. So actually the day I got my diagnosis, it wasn't confirmed, but it was pretty much sure that it's cancer. I had been struggling with a lot of pain, and so she kept telling me, oh, you're having this pain because it's from your nerves. You're stressed out, all those pains, basically the horrible year worth of pain that I went through. The psychiatrist kept telling me it's from my nerves. I'm stressed out, it's from my nerves. Even though I kept eating 100 ibuprofens every month, and eventually, actually that was a little bit before I was diagnosed, I was not able to actually take ibuprofen anymore, and I can't till this day because my stomach can't handle it. Basically, I broke something in there, I guess. Like I get an enormous amount of pain in my stomach, and basically I can't take ibuprofen anymore. But yeah, so she was the one who really kept telling you, it's your stress, you know. You're stressed out, you're anxious, you're this, you're that. And so it was Tuesday morning when I had an appointment with her. And it was actually an hour session. I was surprised. You know, she had started actually seeing me like an hour long, even though she was a psychiatrist, because I had seen a couple different psychiatrists before I saw her years ago, and they always like had it, you know, saw me only like 10 minutes basically to tell me like you should take this medication, that medication, and it was a very small experience. I didn't see them a lot, but anyway, I was surprised that this doctor was really like taking an interest, and she was really talking and, you know, trying really hard to give me advice and this and that, and so I really trusted her. Also, my daughter goes to the same school as her son, but anyway, I really like trusted that woman. And so I was telling her that I'm worried about this scan coming back, but I wasn't really that worried because I had so many scans and scares and things so many times over the years that I didn't really have a lot of, how to say, a lot of scare left in me. So I wasn't really that worried. And I actually asked her, do you know already, have you seen what the results are? Because the thing is that when I do the scans, I don't see the results. They're not posted online for me to see, even though I think they're posted very soon after the scan actually takes place, so that the doctor sees it very fast, but I don't. I think the idea is that if something is really bad, you know, the results, then the doctor can, you know, talk to you, and you know, so that if you see it's cancer, you don't read it yourself, that the doctor has time to talk to you and, you know, prepare you for this. Anyway, so I remember thinking it's not bad, everything is going okay, and I don't remember what I did, different things during that day, but I went and picked up my daughter. We went out to eat. We went to Panera Bread, and then middle of the Panera Bread eating session I got a message from my oncologist that the scan results are back and she needs to talk to me right away. That what do I want to do? You know, do I want to wait? Can she call me? You know, how do I want to, you know, what I want to do? And the message her back saying I want to talk to her immediately, like I want her to call me as soon as possible. We finished the meal and we were about to get into the car when my oncologist called. So I got my daughter in and I talked to oncologist, and the oncologist said, well, the scan showed some things in my bones. At that stage it wasn't like, how to say, it was very clear that it's most likely cancer. However, you know, you have to actually have a biopsy, you have to go through a biopsy before they can tell you that it's 100% sure. Right? They have to actually look it under the microscope and yada yada yada. And so, and I asked, you know, it's cancer, right? And she says, well, it can be something else. But the way she stated it, it was like she didn't believe what she was saying. You know, you can tell from how the other person is saying. And my oncologist, I guess, I don't know. It seemed like she's not good at lying. So I could tell that I don't think she was believing what she was saying, that it could be something else. And when, you know, she tried to come up with something, I think she came up with only one thing, I can't even remember what it was, but she didn't believe it. And basically at that point I knew it was cancer, right? Which is extremely irritating that other people were still like, oh, maybe it's not. And I especially that I had already gone through this thing that most likely it's cancer, and then turned out it wasn't. But the thing is that when there were just almost no other explanation, because there were several lumps, there wasn't only one lump in my anyway, it doesn't matter. My point was that I went in a shock. My life changed in that moment. And I didn't even drive home. I kind of drove in circles, and we ended up going to a bookstore. And I didn't know I needed to talk, but at the same time I was like, I can't talk to anybody. I need to talk, I need to calm down. But I couldn't talk to anybody. I didn't want to talk to my mother, because she's kind of selfish in a sense that she doesn't think about how I feel. She just starts crying, you know, she kind of lets herself, kind of thinks about herself, is what I would say, you know. She doesn't think at that moment about me, she's going to think about herself. I'm not like saying it badly, I'm just saying my mom is going to cry and worry about things, you know, because, you know, I'm her daughter. Anyway, also I couldn't say it to my hubby because he just doesn't show emotion very well. Plus, he would say that he doesn't believe it. Even if you, I don't know, he just, like I knew how he would react, because I know him that well. And next day I actually told him, and he reacted exactly the way I expected. And so in my desperation I sent a message to my psychiatrist. So I'm actually going somewhere with this talk here. And so I said to her that, please, I need help. I'm falling apart. I'm just coming apart because of this message. I know it's cancer, you know. So basically it's like life changes. Nothing is the same anymore. And it was a shock. I didn't know what to do, where to go. And at the same time I needed to talk to somebody, but I couldn't. I had nobody to talk to. And so anything from that psychiatrist, anything positive to help me out would have made me feel better. And so she sent back a message, 2 sentences. Today morning you looked very well put together, and have you already scheduled biopsy? And after that message, at the moment I just kind of brushed it off. I didn't think about it. I actually called my friend and she came over. She dropped everything. She lives 4 hours away. She dropped everything. She came here, stayed overnight here. I didn't even tell my hubby why she came over, like just, you know, in the middle of a week, just arbitrarily just comes and stays here. Hubby had no questions about that because that's how he is. He's a little bit loony. But my point is that the way I took this message is, what hurt me is that she wrote that you looked completely put together. But that was in the morning, before I actually had that scan result, before my life fall apart. And with the second message that have you already scheduled the biopsy, means that she knew what the scan result was. And the scan result, there wasn't no other way. There was almost no possibility that was anything else but cancer. Anyway, my point is, after that message, I refused to see her ever. And so my oncologist has been prescribing me the same prescription that my psychiatrist had been giving me. But my point is, I haven't seen psychiatrist over a year now, and it's maybe time that I need to go see a psychiatrist and see that well, I need to open up to somebody. But that's the problem. It's very difficult for me, and I don't want to do it. I don't want to go see somebody. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to start talking about my stuff. But at the same time, if you want to get like a proper diagnosis and proper treatment, then you have to talk about your crap, so that the doctor would have the best information, so that they would best be able to make decisions, you know, have the right data to treat you properly. And I don't know if I'm able to do it. I can't believe that my psychiatrist I don't understand how she could have sent me a message that today morning you were completely nicely put together. But that was before I got the message. Absolutely anybody, absolutely, it doesn't matter who it is. Like, she has a psychiatrist, especially somebody who supposedly, you know, treating people in a cancer hospital only. Basically, she sees only people with cancer, or people who have survived cancer, or people dying of cancer. Basically, only sees cancer patients, right? And how did she not understand that it doesn't make any difference how I was before that message? It's very clear that I fall apart, and that anybody would fall apart. How did she not understand that absolutely any person, including herself, would fall apart when oncologist, you know, tells you that this is the scan results. By the way, oncologist will never ever tell you that she needs to talk to you unless she thinks it's cancer, by the way. Unless it's really serious. So, I don't know what the psychiatrist was thinking, but because of her callous behavior, I was not able to get any help from her or anybody else. I have not been able to trust anybody, to see anybody. I have seen my therapist still, but as I say, therapists, psychologists and psychiatrists are two different animals, right? Very often during my days, I think that this is hell. That, you know, I'm actually in hell. That I died, and this is what the hell is. Even though I'm not even Christian. I'm just awfully suspicious sometimes that, you know. Because my... Oh, by the way, one more good thing that happened to me. Good thing. Remember I told you about my... Some time ago, that was before I actually even went to my traveling. I had an accident. Somebody drove into my car and basically caused a lot of damage to my car. And just actually this person ran away. Anyway, I got the police report. By the way, the police report, I had to pay $11 just to get the report. I did get the report. I did do the insurance claim. What the heck is my hair doing? I did do the insurance claim, and turns out that that person gave the police wrong information, gave police information that she had insurance, but turned out she had let her insurance lapse and it wasn't paid for. And it means the insurance is not paying for my car repairs. Isn't just wonderful life? So now I need to know, I don't know what to do. I need to call to the police. I don't really want to do it. I don't want to, but I feel like I need to call the police and let them know that this person is driving without insurance. Not only that, causing accidents, running away. So basically there was a guy who ran away, and then some girl appeared and told that it's her car. I don't know who that boy is, even though, so she gave some boy's name. She also gave a wrong telephone number when you call it. It basically says that it's not a phone number. And turns out, so in America, all the information, if you have any kind of criminal record, is online. And turns out this woman has been she has a criminal record. She has been in jail. It's like I'm the luckiest person on earth, don't you think? On my way to chemo. It's like you think like after something really crappy happens that you're immune to bad stuff, that the worst already happened, and you know, like life is going to give you a break. No, that's not true. Life doesn't give you a break. Crap keeps happening. I'm not happy about this situation, of course. So I was told that if I get my insurance to pay for my stuff, and then that maybe my insurance will go after her, basically goes after her, makes her pay. That's a possibility. So that's something that maybe will be done. So I'm in the middle of this saga because it took a long time. I made the claim, nobody called me, nobody contacted me, and because I'm like loony bird like I am, you know, sometimes my health is very difficult. Sometimes I need blood transfusion, etc., etc. Sometimes I'm just so depressed I can't get out to do anything. Anyway, it took a long time, and so finally I called and I got the answer that yeah, we're not going to pay for anything. And I don't understand why they didn't call me back. You know, when they found out that they are not going to pay for my repairs, they could have just, you know, called me, let me know. I was just, you know, sitting waiting. That's enough for now. Thank you for watching me, and see you soon.